to disappear and come back successful. I remember specifically a moment in my life where I was living with my parents, sleeping on their couch as an adult, thinking to myself, man, I know I'm capable of being so much more than what I am today. If I could only be more disciplined, if I could only get more organized, if I could only get my life together, was the thoughts that would run through my mind. My name is Dwayne Golden. I failed high school, I dropped out of college, but today I'm a software executive at a $20 billion company, in large part to what I'm about to share with you today in this video: how to disappear and come back successful. There were 3 major decisions I made in my 20s that allowed me to disappear for a season of my life and come back successful. Now, these 3 decisions were simple. A lot of this stuff you may not think is profound. Some of this stuff maybe you think is too far or too extreme. But I would implore you, stick around to the end of this video so you can find out what exactly I did, because it just might work for you. The first decision I made was simple. I downsized and I disappeared. So a lot of the pressure that I was feeling at my time in my 20s was I had zero clue how to manage my money. So any money I made was spent by the time I got it. So one of the first things I did before I could disappear, I had to downsize. I got rid of my car. Clearly, I didn't have a house anyway. I reduced my expenses to almost nothing and I left. I disappeared. I moved to South America. I moved to Colombia, South America, where my mother is from. And I decided to rebuild myself. A big challenge for so many people is you're surrounded by people who are bringing you down, people who don't believe in you, people who define you as your past actions, people who don't believe you can change and develop as a person. I would suggest to you, change your environment. Get out, make a drastic decision. Allow people to think you're crazy. A big part of this thing is disappearing. How are you going to disappear and come back successful if you never disappear? For me, I downsized. I got rid of my expenses and I moved to a different city. It doesn't have to be a different country. Maybe move to a different town, different neighborhood. Change your surrounding. Check your circle. The people who you're surrounding yourself with, how they see you is going to affect your mentality so much. And I'm sure you've already seen that in your own life. So that's the first thing I did. I downsized and I disappeared. The second decision I made was even more challenging. It was experiment, execute, and exercise. When I say experiment, it's exactly as it sounds. I did literally 4 different things I did 4 different jobs almost. I just learned how to do stuff on the fly. I was reinventing myself, finding out what the heck I was good at. I did stuff like, I was like a middleman for video editors. So somebody wanted a video editing. By the way, I can't edit videos. I would hire someone else on one of these freelance platforms to go and do the work, and I would collect a fee. That's one of the ways I made money. Another thing I did, I made video courses and sold them, teaching people how to do random things. I was a copywriter. I learned how to write copy. All this stuff, by the way, that I'm saying, you learn on the internet. I learned on the internet. So I experimented until I found something I was good at. One of the experiments was sales, obviously. I found different products to sell. That's one of my first taste of actually selling software was during this phase of my life. So, experiment. The second thing is execute, right? There's certain things that I felt God was telling me I need to be doing in my life, and I wasn't doing. One of them happened to be exercising. And before I even continue, I know some people are like, man, Dwayne, what if I don't believe in God? Doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. There are certain things that you know you should be doing that you're not acting on, whether it be laziness, whether it be lack of discipline, but you know you should be doing. I found in my own life, as I disappeared, I made the decision I'm becoming something different than I was up to that point. I'm not gonna be the guy living on his parents' couch the rest of his life. Second, I'm gonna execute on the things I know I'm supposed to do. So for me, a big part of it was reading. I need to be reading regularly, especially for me. Like, I failed high school and I dropped out of college. I didn't have degrees. So if I wanted to make a lot of money, if I wanted to be successful in my own eyes, I had to find ways to educate myself. That meant reading books regularly. The third thing, right? We talked about experiment. We talked about execute. The third thing was exercise. This isn't everybody's favorite, but it's such a big deal. Exercise. I started running. I'm not a runner. I don't like running whatsoever, but I knew for me to be at my peak, I have to work out. To this day, I have to work out. But before that, when I was living on my parents' couch, I wasn't exercising. I was eating unhealthy food, McDonald's, fast food, you freaking name it. But when I disappeared, I made a decision. I'm going to come back different, and it starts now. The third thing, the dopamine detox. That's right, the dopamine detox. And a big part of this is gonna be so challenging. You're gonna resist it. Even as you hear it right now, you're like, oh my, you're probably rolling your eyes. But you need to hear this. You are addicted. We all are, myself, addicted to our phones. Every time you're scrolling your Instagram, you're scrolling your Snapchat, TikTok, whatever the heck it is that you like, and you receive a like, someone comments on your page or on your picture or your post, you get a hit of dopamine and your body craves it more. Every time you see a video that makes you laugh, every time you see a video that's entertaining, you're getting hits of dopamine. I had to go on a detox. What does this mean? That means I'm going 0 dark 30. Something my dad taught me, and I saw him do it throughout his life, is he would go in what he called the cave. He would go dark, meaning no TV for a month at a time, months sometimes. No music. The only source of entertainment, not even entertainment, the only things of content that he would take in would be books and like worship music. So for me, a dopamine detox, I'm deleting every social media app. To this day, I don't have any social media apps on my phone, other than LinkedIn and YouTube, and that's for work. Delete Instagram, delete the TikTok. Anything that's not moving you closer to your goal is taking you further away from it. There's no in between. Everybody wants to be a millionaire, right? Everybody wants to have the money. Everybody wants to have that girl. Everybody wants to have that thing that they want in their life, but so few are willing to pay what it costs, because it ain't cheap. Success is not cheap. It costs something. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to sacrifice your Netflix, right? Are you willing to sacrifice your favorite rapper, your favorite musician? So if you want to disappear and come back successful, this is what's worked for me. I can't tell you what's going to work for you. I can only tell you there's nothing about my story that makes sense. How the heck does a guy who failed high school, when I say failed high school, that means I literally did not walk the stage and get a diploma. When I say I failed high school, that means I had like a 1.6 GPA. The only reason I got into college is because like I had to go to a local community college and take some credits so I could be able to get my high school diploma a year later. When I got into college, I dropped out a year after that. How the heck do I lead an organization of over 100 people at one of the fastest growing tech companies in the entire world? It doesn't make sense. In fact, a lot of the jobs that I interview people for, I don't qualify for myself. The only reason this is possible is because I disappeared. I changed my habits, right? I put away the things that weren't getting me closer to where I am, because on paper it doesn't make sense. So I would challenge you today, if you want to change your life, you've got to make some big changes. If you want to see some big changes, you got to make them. So this is my story on how I disappeared and came back successful. My name is Dwayne Golden. I'll see you next time. Bye.